The plan calls for a door in row 2. So in order to determine how big to make the door, how many segments, put the insert on, open the release plate, and wherever you have enough room for the release plate to open, that's how many segments you'll need to go. So in this case it's 6 segments. So I've marked the segments, I put on double-sided tape. I take the double-sided tape off and you just simply stick them together like you would glue them together. And always keep these segments marked. You need to know where that door is at all times. It's easy to lose while you're turning it. In the rest of the row you glue it up just like you would any normal row. Now the first row I put on, I mortised and tenon it in and then turned it to the approximate dimensions I need. Then what I've done is turned, using the black part of the gauge, I've cut it down so it's even, flush, to the width of the insert. So the insert will fit right in there. It should be about a 1/16 inch proud. And always make sure this row is flat and smooth. This is going to be the first row of your door, so it needs to be as smooth as possible to reduce the amount of friction. Nice and smooth. This is the first row of your door. Much of this area does not get glued all the way from here to here. You always want to keep the door marked. You keep X's on where the door part is because you need to know where this door is at all times. I'll mark it on the inside and the out. The rest of the area, this is no glue. The rest of the area is your glue area. Now I'll use location marks so I can set it down in the exact same spot every time, so I don't get much movement, so the glue won't move into the wrong areas, and I'll use a glue block. Glue on the next row. This is the first row of the door. I'm going to turn it down to the approximate dimension. Always use a live tail center and a wood block to hold it in place, because you got to remember this isn't glued. Mark where the door is because you're going to lose track of it. So you mark it on there, tape it very well because this is not glued in about 1/3 of your row. Tape it nice and thick. Now the next thing we're going to do is turn it straight down to where our cut was on the last row. Just straight down into it. Now we're going to follow the dimensions of the insert. What I use is a gauge. It's just easier to use. I can fit the pieces in there. First row, first piece, right there. I mark how deep I need to go. And I'm going to cut straight down to that cut, 1/4 inch in. Then I'll take the next row, the next measurement, and I'll cut down to that depth. I've cut everything in. I've cut all the parts that the insert should actually fit into the opening now and should sit approximately flush. I'll glue on the next row. What I do is make marks to show where I need to set the piece down. And then I'll mark my no glue areas. I draw a circle around so I know exactly where to put the glue. I don't want too much glue. I definitely don't want it running into the no glue area. Clamp it, glue it, put it on, and turn it to the approximate size. You want to keep it a little big, a little proud. Now, what I'm going to do is cut it straight down. This is the final cut. I just cut it straight down to the other cut and took it in 3/8 of an inch. Curve it a little bit because you're going to want to leave some room for the opening, and keep the width approximately 5/16 inch on the outside. You need a 1/4 inch of room for the magnet to open. So you put it back in where you had it before. Check your opening, make sure you have at least a 1/4 inch and that it will release the plate. You've got to make sure it opens up high enough to release the plate. Glue on the next row doing the same thing. I make my mark so I don't have to move it too much. Make my circle around there and mark the no glue areas. I want to keep the glue away from the opening. Clamp it up and glue it. Put it on, and as usual, turn it down to the approximate size. Use a live tail. And in this case, I've turned it a little bit more. I've made sure I've got the opening. It's got a nice curve to it. It's got a little more than a 1/4 of an inch, so it opens just fine. And I'm going to glue on the final row. Make my marks as usual so I know where to set it down. Mark the no glue areas and glue it up. Make sure you keep the glue away from the no glue area. And as usual, turn it down to the approximate size. Now I curved the inside so it's got a nice curve following the dimensions and the way I want the outside to look. I've got enough room for everything to open. I've double checked it. And now I'm going to take the dimension of the outside down to approximately 5/16 of an inch. I'll remove the final 1/16 of an inch later. So what I do is smooth it all out, take it down about to the middle of the vase. I'll take it down about a 1/16 of an inch, and then I'll take it from the middle of the vase to the end of the vase.